gamers, and welcome to episode 416 of the Super Ultra Podcast Arcade for May 14th, 2023. I'm one of your hosts, Daniel Nicholson, and with me is my co-host, Dominic Stallworth. What's going on, Dominic?
Man, so we've been off for a couple weeks, but it's been a lot going on, though, for this couple of weeks. It's been some big things happening, man, in the gaming world. So we're going to try to get to that quick. So I'm just going to get right to sports. XFL is over. My DC Defenders, who had a great season, the best team in the league, but did not win where it really counted, man. Well, I ain't gonna say it counted, but it really meant to. I mean, they lost the championship game to a team that was 4-6 in the regular season. God damn it, it's so disgraceful.
It's really rough.
That's how the XFL has gone. That a 4-6 team has won the championship in that league. But overall, the league was enjoyable. It was overall enjoyable. I mean, like, that's what I would say it has over the USFL, is that they actually have home teams and teams that are, that would have a fan base. I mean, even though some of them are small, like Las Vegas is pretty, but I don't know if that's an excuse of the fans or excuse of the place they play at, because that is just an awful place to play. But, I mean, DC looked great. Fan base was great out there. St. Louis was the best because, their team moved away from them. And which, I mean, it's so weird because it's like I don't think they were ever losing money, but I guess they just figured, hey, more money's out in LA.
Yeah.
That's really what it was, because it wasn't like, that's one thing with football. It's never like, oh, nobody's coming to the games. And I mean, not until like recently, attendance was down in some places. But before, like when St. Louis, by the time they left, it was never like attendance is like awful or nothing. Nah. It's just that I think it came down. They won a new stadium, and St. Louis was going to build a new stadium, and I really don't know everything behind the scenes or why they moved, but I mean, we all know it always comes down to money. And I always thought it was a bad move as far as fandom, because of LA, they like the Raiders. Right. That's who they like. So with the Rams and with San Diego, well, not San Diego anymore, but with the Chargers, they get fans mostly from the other teams at their places, because LA's fan base is the Raiders, and the LA will travel to Las Vegas to see the Raiders. So it's so bad that it's like, man, y'all really did it for just money, because it wasn't definitely for like, hey, we're just trying to get more fans in here. No, right. You did it for money. Like, you did it because LA's a big place and people will come, even if they don't give a shit about the team. Maybe they'll say like, hey, it's experience. I'll go see this football game. I ain't rooting for the team. I don't want to give a shit, but it's just good to be there. Or, you get people to travel. They want to travel to this nice place, like, so it's like an event. So it's like, yeah, I'll travel to California to see my team play here. And that's what it seems like it is. Because it seems like a lot of people travel from other teams to see people play there.
Yeah.
And that sucks. And that just tells you that, like, this is like in professional sports. Professional sports, they don't really care. They don't care as much for the fans in the stadium as they used to, because revenue is basically television. It's television or online now. It's everywhere, and gambling now, definitely gambling, because now the gambling's legal mostly everywhere. So that's where the revenue is. It's not about like the we gotta fill these seats up. Man, I don't give a shit. Like, that could be empty and it still make money, but it just don't look good. They just have to put some fake, people in there to make it look like it's real, like they were trying to do around COVID. All right. So anyway, yeah. So that's it for the XFL. USFL, I haven't really been paying attention to, because I've been following the XFL because of the Washington, the DC Defenders. So now I'll probably be paying attention more to it. I know the team that I was going to probably root for, Philadelphia, because they were the closest team. They were 1-2 last time I saw. I don't know if they played yesterday or they played today. I'm not sure. I'll see. Next week is probably when I probably really put a little more focus on USFL. But the thing is, since the Orioles have been doing so well, I've been paying attention to them because the Orioles have been kicking butt. They won 4 in a row after losing 3 in a row. They never got swept in the series. I mean, because they lost 3 in a row, but they lost 2 games to the Braves and 1 game to the Rays. But then they beat the Rays, who were number 1 team at the time. Still are technically right now the number 1 team in the league. The second best team in the league is the Orioles as far as records. So the Orioles are playing the Pirates, who were hot. But Pirates have been on a big losing streak now. So the Orioles are taking advantage of this situation of the Pirates seem to be falling down. They already won the series against the Pirates. They now are looking for, as of this podcast, looking for the sweep. So hopefully by the time you hear this, they swept them. At least for my benefit, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, then I'm sorry. But yeah, the Orioles, man, they've been looking great. And they, I know the bat's been a little cold recently, but their pitching's been up. So, like I was saying before, like the pitching is the big question. So far these games, the pitching has been going good. The bats haven't been as monstrous as they were, but we'll see. They might pick up again. But hey, I'll take this. I'm happy, and we still haven't got like our ace. Well, who we think maybe be our ace, John Means, who was basically our best pitcher for the last few years. Except for last year. Well, last year he left early because he got injured. He should be coming back this year. I think I heard June. I thought I heard before June maybe, but I think I heard June. We still didn't we got 2 relievers that should be coming back from injury too. They haven't played yet this year. So man, like it's gonna be this year so far starting really great, and us being like 12 games over 500, I think now. It's been awesome. It's been awesome. I've been loving watching these games, man. It's been fun. They got this thing called the Bird Bath now section.
I saw that.
Where people get, every time you get a double or more, people get wet in the section.
Yeah. So,
yeah, they have that on tickets. They say you will get wet. So if you got to buy tickets there.
I know anytime they get a double or something, I'd definitely get wet.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty fun. All right. So I ain't been paying attention to NHL, but you do. I think Florida Panthers are still in, so you got a Florida team still in there, Daniel. Just that the Rays, that's the Rays. Well, Tampa Bay Lightning have not. They look like they won't be doing a four-peat of going to the championship. Mm-hmm. They won 2 years in a row. Then they lost last year, but they were in the championship last year though. But it looks like they're not going to be. Well, they lost in the first round. And I have no idea what's really going on in hockey. I just saw that like on the scroll on the bottom of the screen watching the game. Watching some basketball actually. And looks like I still won't be really paying attention too much to basketball. Like watching it, I'll be looking at scores because the Lakers are going to the next round. And yeah, it looks like the Lakers, they were playing the Denver Nuggets. I am rooting for the Nuggets. Please let them win, God. If there's a God, please let the Nuggets win. The Lakers won enough times. Like he should just give them a chance. And so, and what the other game is, well, you'll find out who wins between Philadelphia and Boston. Mm. They're playing their game 7, and whoever wins will playing the Miami Heat, who was the 8th seed. Like they're going to the Eastern Conference Championship. As I said, this team was better than what their record was. They had injury problems they had and during the season, so injuries and bad luck during the season, and hey, they just came on strong at the end, man. So give it up to them. What else is happening? I think my team is about to be officially sold, so hopefully by the time we do the podcast next week, it'll be like, yep, they're going to be sold to Josh Harris, the guy who owns the Devils of New Jersey for hockey and the Philadelphia 76ers. So he would have another team in another area and another market. So there you go. Like that's something. I mean, it's all on the East Coast though, mid Atlantic, but it's just like it's something to have like a football team, a basketball team, and a hockey team in 3 different markets really. I mean, even though New Jersey is kind of close to Philadelphia, but they already have the Flyers. So it's like that's basically like probably their rivals, basically. So it's interesting, but good for him. Good for that rich man to possibly be richer, Daniel. And And actually, I don't know. It's just a partnership. I don't think it's him outright. It might be him in a group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I haven't looked. I think that's what it is, but I'm not sure. Because at one point I heard the name of a rapper.
Oh.
In the mix of it, I forgot who it was, and I forgot who it was. Was it Jay-Z? Was it Jay-Z or Sean P. Diddy Combs? I forget.
His time's finally coming, Dominic. He's been playing the long game. You didn't believe in him.
I didn't. I didn't believe in him, and I wouldn't be upset if he was, because it's not like he will be. I mean, the decision, he'll just be the mascot. So I mean, what the hell? He'll be next with that pig, that hog mascot we got. Hey man, I'm just telling you how it is. I mean, shit. I wish it wasn't. I mean, I wish it was that he can own a team or something. I mean, I don't care. I want to say I wish it. It's just that I'm indifferent to it, because I mean, until I see a benefit of it, because I don't need. It'll be nice to have like, oh, you can have a black guy owning a team. Like, that's having a black face. But I think I'm for me personally, I'm past the part of the just optics. Having a black face in a hot place. Yeah. Optics, you don't need that anymore. I think we have gotten enough of that. I think we actually need to see results of something positive coming out of it for that can be more than just the individual. Because if it was just an individual, I mean, that's fine, but then it's nothing different to me than a white guy owning it then. All right. Because I'm telling you this, I mean, Michael Jordan, he owns the whatchamacallit. I mean, I think he's a majority owner, I want to say. Or at least half, but of the Charlotte Hornets. But I'm not seeing any big changes behind the scenes of like, oh, it's a black man high place. Things are happening better for relations. No, he's just a guy who wants to make money.
Yeah.
I mean that's fine. And he loves basketball. All right. What else is there? I think that's it for sports. So, what you got for wrestling? What was a Backlash that happened?
Yeah, Backlash did happen. The WWE had a pay-per-view in Puerto Rico, and that was quite entertaining. Bad Bunny.
Oh my God, Daniel! Why is that not considered racist? What? I gotta say Puerto Rico, like 'cause that's how they say it. You gotta say Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Sorry, Dominic. Puerto Rico.
I'm just joking, yo. I know everybody does that.
They had a pay-per-view there. Bad Bunny, a very famous rapper and pop star, was a part of that. He's previously been a part of the Royal Rumble, and I think he had a match at WrestleMania a couple of years ago as well. He is another one of these guys that comes in from the outside and actually like seemingly puts in the work to be a very good wrestler, because he had a very enjoyable match versus Damian Priest, who is also from Puerto Rico. And that was really cool. The kind of disappointing thing was like the order of matches, though, because like they had the Usos and Solo Sikoa, basically like the bloodline, Roman Reigns' guys, versus Sami Zayn and Matt Riddle and Kevin Owens. And they made that the main event, even though like the crowd was super hot for Bad Bunny. Like the crowd was super hot overall. Like it was a very good crowd. They were basically excited for everything. They were cheering for everything. They were booing for the bad guys. Like it's always good when the crowd is into the show. Whenever it's just kind of like people sitting on their hands, not clapping, not whooping it up or whatever, like that's when you start to wonder like what's going on here, because like they're doing good wrestling, but like if you don't have the crowd behind you, that can just like take everything away from the show. But
yeah,
they had that there. It was awesome. They had some of the guys from like earlier generations of WWE come back. Savio Vega back from years and years ago, because he's from Puerto Rico, and Carlito, who was a guy that was around like kind of when I wasn't watching, but like the early 2000s. He's from Puerto Rico. He would come out and spit apples in people's faces. So he kind of came out and did his shtick during that match too. That was awesome. The Bianca Belair versus Io Sky match, that was awesome. The crowd was super into that. And like Bianca Belair is the face in that match. Io Sky, it seems like they might be kind of turning her. She's currently in Bayley's group, Damage Control, which is kind of a heel group. But it seems like they're kind of maybe breaking her away, and the crowd was just absolutely into her. Like they were actively booing Bianca anytime like there was like a trade-off kind of thing. She did get dumped on her face though at one point. There were a couple of scary moments on this pay-per-view because she got dumped on her face because she was working Bianca Belair's arm. So at one point, like, Bianca goes for a press slam, but, like, one-handed. So it's basically like she's holding her up with one hand, and then Io Sky's got her hands on her shoulders, right? But then she goes to, like, dump her over, and she should land on her back, and instead she just landed right on her face. That was scary, but she got up and seemingly was all right after that. Bad Bunny also took a pretty bad bump, like, right on the top of his head. He was trying to do slice bread number 2, which is basically a move where you like run up the ropes while you're holding the guy and you flip over him, but he like did not flip over enough and basically landed on his head. That was a little scary. But overall, yeah, it was a very good show. Wrestling is doing all right now. AEW, they have a alleged big announcement next week. The speculation is basically them announcing their new deal. It sounds like them and Warner Brothers have come to a new television deal. Basically, the number out there, I think, is $1 billion, and that's over the course of like 5 years or something like that. But it would bring basically all their products to Warner Brothers. There's speculation that the All-In pay-per-view that they're doing in Wembley Stadium in the UK would be like an HBO, well, not HBO at that point, a Max special. And then if they actually like brought all the pay-per-views under the Max umbrella as well, that would be beneficial for me, who still subscribes to HBO Max for whatever reason. I mean, I watch stuff on there, but you know, excuse me. But, you know, I've got so many services, I probably should whittle that down a little more.
Hey, they just do pay-per-view events on the WWE section of Peacock. Like they don't do every episode of Raw or SmackDown.
Trying to think. I'm not totally sure, but I believe.
Well, SmackDown. I don't know. Could they even do that? Because I mean,
because it's on Fox. I think they do, but they still do what they did with WWE Network, which was like it doesn't appear there until a month later, which was always kind of like why it was kind of pointless to me. It's like you still needed cable if you wanted to follow along with wrestling. That's kind of what I'm trying to think. When they did NXT for a while there, they were streaming it on the WWE Network and it was coming on USA. But I'm trying to think, when they switched to Peacock, it might just be the same way where it's like, I don't think it's live, but it might be like the next day. I'm not totally sure about that either.
Oh yeah, and you know, you be getting perks, you know, through the because you have Game Pass Ultimate. Yeah. I mean, I be using them, the ones that I can use, but they have one where it's like the Peacock Premium Plus. I think you just got, because now they changed it, I think, to Premium.
Yeah,
and Premium is with the commercials.
And the commercial free one, yeah.
Yeah, which is funny because like Premium should be the no commercial. It's like, why'd you even do that? Why'd you change the name?
Because they want you to think that the premium version is the one without commercials. But then you got to buy into the Premium Plus. Like, they get you in, but then they want you to spend even more money. They want you to go, oh yeah, it's only $4 a month or whatever. This isn't too bad. And then you go, oh shit, I got commercials now. I gotta spend the extra $2 instead of just trying to convince you to spend the $6 or whatever, or the $7. They just want you to trick yourself into it, basically. So, yeah, but along with that, their like YouTube shows have disappeared. Like they quietly canceled AEW Dark and Dark Elevation because it sounds like basically Warner Brothers wants control over all of their content. Like they want to be the main distribution channel for all AEW content. So
but what do you use for that though?
It's theoretically Max, you know. So
yeah, but do they? Is it on Max now?
It's not right now. So next week is when they're going to announce this new deal. I don't know how soon after, because I'm not totally sure when HBO Max turns into Max, when that like crossover happens.
They're just gonna call it Max.
Yeah, once the whole like Discovery thing is completed. So it might happen around then. My wonder, because I feel like HBO Max has even done a thing where you have the service, but you still, like the Disney thing where you have to pay an extra fee to watch a movie early or something like that. I feel like maybe HBO had done that too. And I could see them still doing something like that for the pay-per-views, because right now they're charging $50, $60 per pay-per-view. Now, they only do like 4 a year, but that still adds up. Whereas, like, if I'm just getting it as part of my Max subscription, like, obviously that feels like some lost revenue there. Unless, of course, HBO Max is or Discover, whatever. Unless they feel like it's worth it to them to have that on their channel and they're paying them that money to, you know, cover that cost. I'm not sure about that. We'll see how that goes once they officially announce it. But I'm optimistic about that, because I don't have cable anymore. So finding a way to watch the weekly AEW products, it's harder. And because of that, I watch them less frequently. So I kind of fall behind on that stuff.
You know, I found a station, and I wonder if they probably have that station too. What's the station they on? USA? Not USA.
TBS. And TNT.
TBS.
TNT and TBS.
TNT. Yeah. I found, like, because I look for, because I want to see MLB Network, and it's not hard, it's not easy to get that too without you paying for cable service.
Yeah.
And well, unless I bought my friend's like account thing where I can just go up there and use it. I just realized that though, because I don't think that was always a thing. But I found a site where I could just watch the channel, and like that's been going on for some years now. Because I just went up there like this year, and it was like, I wonder if this still works, and it was still there, and I could just watch MLB Network, and just like they have it streamed live,
right.
Like it's just a live station, and like you see all the commercials and stuff wherever they from. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And I never did look on the other channels, because other channels I can get. But I wonder if you can just go there. I mean, I'll tell you like on our break or something.
Gotcha. Where
it is, because it works pretty good. And if you got an ad blocker, man, yeah, you don't get no pop-ups or nothing.
Yeah. Now, see, like AEW outside of the US, because of the deals that they have in place, if you have like a VPN, and I think some of this stuff has gotten blocked now, but at one point, if you had a VPN, you could sign up for AEW Plus, which was basically kind of like the WWE network, except it didn't include the pay-per-views. It was just like you could watch the weekly program live through the Fight app. And I always thought about that, but like then I'm talking about like paying for a VPN, which now I get free with my Google One or whatever, because I bought more storage to save photos. So that comes with that. I'm not sure if that works with it, but then I'm talking about that, and then I'm talking about buying AEW Plus, and then it's like at that point I'm almost at the point where it's like, okay, I should just be paying however much extra over my internet to get cable, you know? So that's why I never went with that. I do like because some of the streams I'll watch sometimes, instead of being like rips from TNT, they'll be from the fight. And it's cool because they don't actually go to commercial break. It just, or like if they do picture in picture, they still just leave it full screen and have commentary going and stuff like that. Almost like there isn't a commercial there. And some of that is fun because like the commentators know that they're not on television per se. So they'll, just kind of shoot the shit and do that kind of thing. So, and just not having commercials is a vast improvement over listening to the same freaking commercials over and over again, which they definitely can be if you're watching that stuff.
Yeah, it sucked. Or like in some of those things where if I'm using the actual app, it'll be like, oh, we're on a commercial break, and it's just silence. Yeah. That's like, god damn, I kind of hate that. I kind of hate the silence. I was like, you can have something going. Can you have some music or something?
Yeah.
Like, he at least have some music or something happening, man.
AEW, at least they have like the logo up there, and then they have some like generic butt rock, like boop, 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 boop. So, yeah, but that's what's going on with wrestling.
All right. So I guess we'll. I'm sorry, I was trying to play Diablo at the same time. The Diablo 4 beta, like the last one until
the Service Slam
service. Well, I don't know if it's called a beta. It's called it's called Service Slam. All right. It didn't. I was hoping it saved your stuff, your guy from the last beta or something. I thought it. I don't know. I thought it did. All right. So what am I doing? Okay, we're going to you're going to what we've been watching. Yeah. So I've been watching some old movies that I've never seen before.
Okay.
So Alice in Wonderland, I never did watch the Tim Burton one.
Oh, okay.
And so I want to watch it in 3D.
I was going to ask.
The reason
Oculus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, on the Oculus, and the reason I haven't watched it the first time is because the reviews weren't that great, so I never gave it a chance. And so I said, I'm gonna give it a chance now. And now I see why the reviews weren't that great, because it's not that good to me. I don't understand what Johnny Depp is saying a lot of times. I had to keep rewinding back, and I don't have the subtitles weren't working, so I didn't. But but overall the movie, it was. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Visually it looks great.
Yeah,
I like the it does. I like the 3D effects and stuff. But yeah, it's not overall. Yeah, I didn't really like the movie, and I stopped. I got kind of close to the end when they all met with the White Queen, whatever. But it was okay. It wasn't that good. I wonder, did you see part 2?
Yes.
Was that better?
I don't recall, but I don't think it was. Like, I'm kind of right there with you. Like, it's the first one's an okay movie, but it's definitely not like a good movie. And I think the second one is like that, but maybe even a little less so.
Damn.
Because I think the second one, they even go a little harder on the Johnny Depp stuff, the Mad Hatter stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Less about Alice.
What else did I watch? Oh, yes, and I finally did watch John Wick.
Ooh.
So everybody, because they talked about it, always talk about the sequels and stuff, and I used to always lie and say, yeah, I saw the first one, that's it. And which I saw it up to when he got beat up after his dog got killed. And I just never gone back. I didn't want to. I don't know. I just saw something happen, and I just didn't really care to go back. Yeah. So now I said, I'm going to sit down and watch it. It's a fun action movie. That's really what it is. A lot of killing, some good, definitely some good fight scenes, man. A lot of shooting scenes that I did enjoy watching. But other than that, it's okay. It's okay. I'll watch the sequels just to see how they are. The sequels seem to like them. I'll check them out.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's all I really watched. I mean, I've been watching that show, Fire on Mars. That's still going on. I have watched like Succession up to episode maybe 4 or 3 of the second season.
Okay.
I know they what's happening there? This is when they were all trying to get a former guy back, and Pierce. They're trying to get Pierce back to the fold. But that's when he got back. He said somebody's out to get him, and he made these guys play the game, act like pigs or something.
Pigs on the floor. Is that what?
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah.
That was so bad. So bad.
That's what the rich think of us, Dominic.
And now I'm feeling bad for the guy who's the husband of the daughter.
Tom,
because now I feel bad. Because first I was really like him. But, I mean, I don't really like him, but I'm more empathetic to him.
Yeah.
Than before. Like I like him and the cousin, I guess he is.
Greg, yeah.
I like him. Though those are the guys who I kind of sticking with. And then Tom, like, I don't know why she married him. Because I was trying to figure out what's the benefit of being with Tom.
Right. Yeah.
I never got that.
Like, you see the benefit for him, right? It's basically like a Triple H situation. But yeah, like, she clearly doesn't seem like she's into the relationship too much. Because, you you see her cheating or whatever at the first season, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, what's going on there?
I just not getting what she gets out of it. Like, what is she getting out of this guy? That she's clearly, and like, even when they just talk and stuff, it's like, there's no chemistry here.
Yeah.
Like, I can, like, for her, like, and like a person like her, I'm like, is it this what it is? That she wanted a weak man? Maybe that's what she is. She wants a weak man who can do what she says.
Yeah.
And she can do what the hell she wants.
Maybe that's what it is.
But then why have a man at all?
Exactly. Yeah. Now we're talking, Dominic.
That's just what we be talking. I'm not getting these answers to these questions. It's just all talking. It just seems weird from her. Like, I don't know. Like, did she like? Oh, there was a time she really liked them, but I felt like just the way she acts. It's just that, like, I would never think her. That's like, oh, this your man. That's like, oh, you would think had to be some benefit.
Yeah,
and I don't see the benefit.
She's just got father.
So I know it can't
Dominic, that's all.
No, okay. All right. Yeah. So that's it. So I guess we to what we're playing. So let's quickly get to some of the other games before we get to the big one that came out. Of course, it's Zelda, but wait, leave that for last. Okay, so I went back to Yakuza 3 since I finished off with Persona.
Mm-hmm.
So Persona 3. So I went to Yakuza 3, and because I had started that, I stopped, and now I'm back and playing that. And game's still fun. It is just a remastered, so it's not as good as those remakes. Like the look of it is kind of old. It's like early PS3, so early to mid PS3, because that was a long generation. But it's still fun. I still like it. I still like the gameplay of it. It doesn't have that gameplay where like the other games I like doing the cabaret that I was just stuck playing all the time and things of that nature. It doesn't have anything like that. It does have a cabaret, but it's not as good as those because they made it better. Because that was those technically real later. But the game has its funny moments. The action moments are cool. I always love the atmosphere of Yakuza. Yeah. Also, I've been playing some Tiny Tina, playing some more of that. So there's not really much talk on that game. The new games I played that new Star Rail game. What's the whole name of that? It's
Star Rail. This is anime. We got your money.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do the money stuff. I didn't pay anybody yet. But it's the guys with the Genshin Impact, basically. And it looks like Genshin
Star
Impact.
Rail.
Yeah, just stick with Stone Rail. Just stick, it's like Genshin Impact, except for that this is more of an RPG than what Genshin Impact was. Genshin Impact felt more of an action RPG, like closer to Zelda. So actually more action. While this is more RPG as turn based, and it has so it's different in that. So it's not like you playing. Oh, this is just Genshin Impact in space. No, it's not that. As far as gameplay was,
Cool.
I played some of it. Like I'm still in the very beginning stages of it though. Like I'm still learning. I just finally got to a point where I got other characters, but it's really anime as fuck. So I don't. I'll see. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna go back to it because of these other games I want to play.
Yeah.
So I was given a chance. I mean, it runs good. It looks good. Like Genshin Impact. So I mean, I was really into it because of the space aspect of it. But we'll see. I mean, so far I haven't got anywhere to be like, oh man, seems like I have to pay some money. But I'm like I said, I'm very early on. So that's why I'm wondering, like, where's the money I'm gonna come to? Is come to if I'm gonna get to some people that's really hard to beat, and I'm gonna have to level up more, or how do they want to take my money? I'm not sure. What else have I played? I played some. Here man. Ravenlock. Ravenlock was a new game that was on Game Pass that came out day and date on Game Pass, and it is by the guys who did what I said the game was? The name of the game?
Echo Generations.
Yeah, Echo Generation. Yes, Echo Generation. It was that blocky anime game that kind of like almost Minecraft-ish kind of look.
Yeah, it was like Minecraft meets Stranger Things kind of thing.
Yeah, and this is kind of like Alice in Wonderland meets almost that kind of Minecraft-y look too. That blocky look also, and I don't know. Something about this is a little less than that, but I guess maybe just the certain characters because it kind of still looks the same. But it sort of does, but it looks a little bit different too.
Yeah, it's interesting
that's why I wasn't
because
sure
there's
it was the same
like kind
thing.
of a dynamic between like your character doesn't look blocky, but then kind of everything in the Alice in Wonderland-esque world does.
And maybe that was how it was supposed to be done. Maybe that's what it was going. Because that's why I was really confused. Because like in Echo Generation, everybody was blocky. But yeah, it is a more of an action RPG though. And this one than how Echo Generation was turn based. And like this, yeah, because you got the sword. It's almost Zelda-ish in that way anyway. But it's not like a full 3D world. It's kind of like a fixed camera, and you go to areas still. I haven't got to. I'm still at the very beginning stages of that game. Also, I was just trying it out to see how the feel of it. I heard it was a short game. I mean, it seems very cute. I'm using your word. I hate that. But it seems very nice. But I haven't really got far enough in it to really judge it. I haven't really got to the point. I mean, I fought like a few enemies, but not much. When I finally got my sword, I'm supposed to go to this forest, which has enemies in there. To check this out, that's where I stopped at. But yeah, it does have like a little Alice in Wonderland sort of feel, like you go into this other world and everything. You just moved into a new home, which is almost like it's an old farm that your aunt left to your family when she passed away, and you had to leave your friends. So you're kind of upset because you're leaving the city, you're going here, and then you found this. I forgot what you found, a book or something, or a mirror. I think you found a mirror. And you went into it, and that's where you got into this world.
Gotcha.
All right. So, what else have I played? And then, then the big game that came on Xbox.
Yeah.
Redfall.
Let's talk about
it. So I tried it out, and I played it on. I first tried it through the streaming, Xbox streaming. I played some of that. The look of the game, like first of all, like the graphically is not impressive. Like I was thinking that okay, because I thought this was on both. I didn't know this was just next gen exclusive. So now that I know it's next gen exclusive, I'm like, this is one of those games they chose to be next gen exclusive when it didn't have to be. Because graphically, it doesn't look that good. It looks okay, but it doesn't look like something that's, oh, this is next gen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, the atmosphere is all right. But I was just looking, it's like, why is this next gen exclusive? Why is this a $70 game? But I was like, okay, I mean, but gameplay, I'll say, well, gameplay's where it's at, so let me keep playing. Yeah, it's definitely did not give me good feels playing it. Like, I felt like Dead Island was better than this game. It's basically like a Dead Island game, but you're not finding, like, the enemies are sometimes so far and in between of sections. Like, you start out, yes, because it's kind of teach you how to play. You fight some enemies here or there. The abilities seem, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, for the person I had, I tried out two different people because I played a game under your name through the stream, and then I played a game just under my name on the PC. It's definitely not optimized for the PC. And I feel like a game like this should run well on my PC because, like I said,
it doesn't
look like it's that powerful. It doesn't look that powerful. And I played games that looked better than this that run better on my PC. So I just feel like it's not optimized well for my PC. And yes, there's not a lot of action in between, man. Like it's like it's supposed to be like it feels like a looter shooter. Like, you got to pick up loot and ammo and everything, but without a whole ton of enemies. And yeah, like, cause I think the first mission is like, some people said, man, I ain't see an enemy until I got there. Cause I guess it all depends where you go. Like, I did see a few enemies. Like, one time I did derail from my path and just start going to people's homes and stuff. And then I saw, like, there were some vampires hiding about. A vampire. I guess, I don't know if it was like, or were they too powerful? Because it felt somewhat powerful. But then you have, sometimes you get multiple vampires, but they're not, I guess they're lesser. And then you get those people who worship them, and then those are the people it seem like you probably fight the most. The people who worship the vampires, so that they defend and they try to kill you. And yeah, it's not that fun to me. I mean, it's like if I'm choosing between Dying Light and Dead Island and this game, like, I would think this would be like, okay, this game is going to be the better game, or at least better than Dead Island. Because, you got the guys from Arcane doing it. Like, the look of the game, I can see artwork Arcane because their art style's kind of in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And these are, I mean, this is like the flagship of the Xbox was showing off. Even though you can argue that, well, technically it was making a game before Xbox purchased them, but Xbox purchased them, it's theirs now, and they were still making it, so it's their game. Yep. so I don't give a shit. And like, it just feels like this is not from a top tier studio, this game. Like, I wonder what went wrong. The shooting is okay. Like, there's nothing special about it. There's only a few people I see that really enjoy it. There's some people trying to really defend it, which I don't know why. I don't know why I even bother to defend it. And I'm not saying because it's the bad. I just that if you like it, listen. If a lot of people are talking about now, there's some people. Yes, they're just laughing because they're fanboys. But unless you're just into that, you're not into arguing with fanboys. Then okay, fine. But I don't know. I mean, I guess you just like doing that. That's what you like doing. But like, for legitimacy, like, I'm trying to see, like, find people who legitimately like it, and like, I don't see the point of you arguing. Just say you like it and let it go. Like, most of the people don't like it. To most people, it's a bad game, and it's not because some people are making excuses that people are just saying it's a bad game because it's 30 frames per second. That's the least of its problems, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if it's 30 frames per second. Like, I couldn't give a shit.
We didn't know that when we were making a big deal about it, Dominic.
Yeah, I mean, I still thought it was a good game. Like, that, I was hoping that was the only complaint.
Right.
That's like, darn, man, I can't wait till the performance mode comes. Like, that doesn't matter if this performance mode there or not, because it just feels like it's not a good game. It's just not much like there in that game. I mean, it's a lot of potential with what it is, because I mean, we've seen games done this before. That's the thing. This is not like it's a whole new like genre or something. This is something that's been done. So it seemed like, so why is this not even good? Like, it should, like, yes, it would have probably been disappointing if it was just like an 8. Like, for some people it would be. It'd be like, oh, because this is supposed to be one of their top tier games. And yeah, it'd be like, there are Xbox, that's all you get it. You get an 8. But it's not even an 8. That's the thing. It's not even a game that's like good. It's a good game. It's all right. Maybe some people may find appeal to it. Like, if you're just into that whole thing of zombie-ish or supernatural vampire kind of shit and just shooting and doing stuff. And I heard some people say, hey, it's fun to play with people. Here's another thing. It's no matchmaking. It's strictly, you have to have friends and get them. Why isn't there any matchmaking? All the other games have matchmaking. Dying Light has matchmaking. Dead Island has matchmaking. Even that goddamn new game, which isn't really a looter shooter, it's more of Left 4 Dead, but what was that called?
Oh, Back 4 Blood.
Yeah, Back 4 Blood. That has matchmaking. Why don't you have matchmaking?
And from
like, why isn't it
Microsoft? Again, this is a game that started before Microsoft purchased them, but if this is going to be a flagship title for you, and by all means it was advertised kind of that way, it was put on that pedestal, why would Microsoft, the people who seemingly care the most about online multiplayer, why are you not supporting the development of this to make sure that's implemented there? This is the same. I mean, you can say the same about 60 frames per second, right? Like, why are you letting stuff come out in basically an unfinished state on your console? But we could say that about like Halo too, right? Like, yeah, that's.
I mean, this is bad. It's bad. Like, basically, Halo should have been like, okay, we ain't doing this shit no more. Like, because we had it. Like, Halo's like, because they had to get something out there. Like, it's like, look, we got this new console. This is our big game. We have to get it out there. Fine. Like I was listening to some guys on the Twitter, like the Twitter space. That's kind of, that where they talk, where a lot of people talk, get into the space, and they it's almost like a Discord kind of thing. They were discussing this, and oh my God, he's very emotional. But like, because he was just upset about what they were doing. But he said it would better off if just when they never came out, man. Like it almost better off is like if they would have canceled shit, at least like, or cancel how they did Scalebound.
Yeah,
like,
I definitely heard some takes like that, basically, because a game like Scalebound, sure, it's still kind of a meme. It'll be brought up every now and then, but it's not really a blemish on their record, right? It's nobody's like, oh my God, I can't believe they've released that game Scalebound. This could have been that. That's easy to say in hindsight. Like, all the stuff we were seeing, it was really cool. Like, I like the concept. I like the general art style that they were going for, but it definitely seems like this needed a lot more time in the oven, and maybe some other chefs in the kitchen to like point them in the right direction. Because this isn't just a failing of like resources. It seems like this seems like the idea behind this game maybe was not 100% great to begin with.
I just didn't see. I mean, then again, I'm not looking like I used to. But I mean, on Twitter, like, what people, especially people who like to do the console wars, I didn't see nobody showing no evidence of like, hey, this game is not looking so good, or this game is, it's like, come on, man, this doesn't really feel that great. I didn't see a lot of that, and I'm thinking like, yo, where, like, there was, so I'm thinking this game is going to be like, it's going to be probably pretty good at the minimum, pretty just good, probably not great.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we were talking about Xbox, like at the beginning of the year, and kind of being a little more negative on them, we were we were never considering this game to be like one of their top tier things, but it was definitely expected to kind of hold some of that weight while they prepared something bigger, right?
I didn't think it'll be this awful. Like, I didn't think it'll be like with this bad, like this bad of a game. I didn't like that. I really have no interest. Like, the only interest I have is just breaking it because of cheats. Like, that was kind of my thing. Yeah. But it runs so bad on my PC. Sometimes it's just a struggle. And like with that, I mean, that's on me. And I'm not really blaming the game too much on that. I mean, but only thing I'm blaming is that it don't look like it's that powerful that right. I don't know why it would be struggling on my PC though.
It's like you said, it's not a next gen. It shouldn't be a next gen exclusive game, which means, you know, it shouldn't make your PC struggle the way it does.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, even like whatchamacallit, even though I still don't think that should have been next gen exclusive either. Like the Tokyo game runs Tokyo whatchamacallit that came out?
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Ghostwire Tokyo. That run better than this game. And it looks better than this game. Even now, whatchamacallit didn't run well at all. The game that came out last year.
Deathloop.
That didn't run that well on my PC.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was really. I can't really say that should have been next gen exclusive either, though. But I mean, it's just that they didn't optimize it for current gen, so whatever. So like whatever. But I'm just saying, Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk looks so much better than this game, and it plays better on my PC than this game.
Yeah.
I mean, I beat Cyberpunk on my PC, and look, and it didn't run great. I mean, compared to what I've seen on other people's like YouTube and stuff, mine didn't run that great. It wasn't good enough though for me to complete the game, because I was playing that between that and the streaming, but on Stadia. But for this tonight, to just the way it's like what are you doing graphically? What in here, or like that it needs to go so slow? Like what is happening here? Like I don't get it. It's like, why is this game running so bad on my PC? But playing on Xbox through the streaming, like so I'm playing off a Series X. Like I'm not seeing I'm saying, man, it doesn't look that great, and the gameplay is average. The gameplay itself is average, but like the missions is kind of bare bones. The animation of the characters aren't really that good. I'm like, darn. I'm like, what is this? Like, this seems like a late, maybe at best a late 360 game. Mm. Like, it looks like how BioShock Infinite sort of reminds me, like the people. When I look at the people,
yeah.
But the BioShock Infinite looks like it looks better than that, and that's an older game. I don't get why. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what issues they had. Maybe we'll get an article somewhere down the line about what they had to go through for this game. But for this game to come out to be this, to not even be just good, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, go for the people who are enjoying it. If you're really enjoying it, you're enjoying it. I mean, a lot of people I know like games that are critically bad. I like but not all of them. I like a lot of Dynasty Warrior games. I know a lot of people don't like them. But there's appeal to just killing shit, a bunch of shit. It happens. And as games that are great that I don't like, which we about one of them to talk about, and and all like Dark Souls-ish games I don't really care for.
Yeah.
So that was really disappointing. It's disappointing that this had to happen. Yeah, and so I'll be selling my Xbox. I'm Daniel, and I'm quitting because it's like, oh, they ain't getting Activision now too. It's like, oh god, what the fuck is out there? What is out there, Daniel?
I don't know.
Oh, we got Starfield. What's going to happen with Starfield? Is it going to
be trash too? It's going to be trash.
Yeah.
Unless you listen to Phil Spencer.
Say, man, it looked like Fallout 3. It looked like Fallout 3. Just like, why is this game so horrible? It's like, I don't know. But I think Starfield's going to be, I think it's going to be a fine game, like a game I like. it sucks that that's the only game that's really holding on hope as far as Xbox exclusives. Like, so now I'm at the point where I don't care. Like I mean, I'm not the people who say like Microsoft need to get their studios together. They need to get games. That's all I'm saying. They need to get games. Like, I don't care if it's from them or not.
Yeah.
They need a reason for people to get like the popular games. 'Cause, like, for me personally, Game Pass is still viable. But I know I'm not of the camp of like, oh, I need AAA. You know, I'm not AAA games. I'm not that kind of guy anymore. If this was like 10 years ago or something, oh yeah, I would be highly like, man, fuck this shit. But now I'm just in a different space where I have a lot of, I don't mind going
now
back
you
to
can
play
just
some
indulge
games.
in the different options.
Yeah, I just get, whatever I can get. Like, it's like whatever games I can get, I'll find something. Like, I'll find something, and I'm not a guy who forces myself to like something, because you see a lot of games I don't finish. But sometimes I find a gem, and I'll be like, oh, I actually like this game. And it's not a big freaking AAA game.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm just in a different space in my life like that. But if I'm arguing with somebody who's really, like, into gaming, but they like to play AAA games. I mean, that's the thing that runs the business, really. That's the things that sells these consoles. I'm going to tell them, like, look, man, you better off going to PlayStation. Like, if you got, like, I mean, first of all, like, how's your wallet? If your wallet's decent, go to PlayStation. They got the more exclusives. They seem to be stealing all the Japanese people's games too. And so if you're into those games, I mean, yeah, they get a Final Fantasy. I don't see Xbox getting Final Fantasy. They haven't get the Final Fantasy VII remake yet. Nope. So it looks like there's something, I don't know what's going on with that. Basically to get everything that Xbox got, except for their exclusives. So you're not gonna get Starfield, but you might not care. I mean, so what? I mean, you might not get Starfield. It might not be a big deal you don't get Starfield. You might be playing other games to hold you till you won't care about getting Starfield. I mean, it's a lot of games I didn't get on PlayStation. Even when I did get PlayStation. I never got Bloodborne. That was told that was a great game. Well, I don't like it. So, but I guess, but maybe technically I missed out because I didn't give enough to a chance. But I don't know. I'll live. I mean, you'd be all right. It's Nintendo games I didn't get. Well, like, I'm trying to think what great Nintendo game came
Yoshi's
out
Woolly World
that I didn't play. Yeah, Yoshi's Woolly World. I didn't get that one. Or was it Yoshi's Yarn the Wii U one?
I think so, yeah. I can't remember now which one's which.
Wow. Now I'm just thinking about it. That's just the same shit. I mean, just Yarn and Wool, whatever.
Well, the latest one, I don't remember now. Because there was also, like, the 3DS one, right? So I'm trying to think what the Yoshi game on the Switch is. Because it was more like cardboard stuff.
Oh, okay.
I think.
No,
Crafted
Kirby's
World.
Yarn. We were thinking about Kirby's Yarn. That's what it was.
Yoshi was
Woolly
Crafted.
World, then Crafted World. Yes, Crafted. Yes. All right, so, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I missed some games on Switch and stuff, but, listen, you can't play every game. I mean, I guess you could, but it's not, you got but so much time on your hands, people. You know what I mean? So it's, I think you'll be all right. But yeah, I'm thinking about, like, hey, the Switch, and I mean, if you don't care about playing games at 30 frames per second, like the internet, like the bitch about, then the Switch is still okay. Even though people, I was like, whatever. And it's like, yeah, the Switch and the PlayStation 5, man, they're the ones to have hitters. And thing is, here's the thing. This is the problem I really have with Xbox, is that they are in a position to really show off their stuff, because PlayStation ain't show shit off since God of War. They haven't showed anything off. Yeah. The most they did was the VR freaking headset. It's the VR headset. And Final Fantasy is, yes, but it's popular, but not everybody plays Final Fantasy. That's not a thing. And even some of the hardcore Final Fantasy fans, because they like it's just an action game, and
Sure.
then but it's like they're not doing anything. Like this is your moment to like you have months between God of War and now to really had something to really be like, oh, this is all about Xbox, man. It's about Xbox now. Because PlayStation, they don't have like technically, well, Final Fantasy comes out, but then Spider-Man comes out like later on in the year.
Yeah.
So it's like this is about these guys. I mean, it's about like the Xbox really, like Nintendo. Yeah, Nintendo got Zelda. That's all people talk about for a while. But you got nothing. So Xbox guys is like technically like as far as like big, like big games exclusive that like everybody's playing, they don't have anything.
Nope.
They don't have anything. While Sony technically doesn't have nothing right now. That's what I'm saying. This is a good time between Sony and them, not counting Nintendo. But Nintendo's got their game, and then Sony will eventually get Final Fantasy, and they have people talking about that game.
Yeah, and I'm sure based on their original schedule, if everything had worked out with their whole like, oh, these games are going to be out within the next 6 months or whatever, you know, in their heads, they probably were trying to fill that gap. But the reality is that's what concerns me, right? Is like we know about a lot of Xbox games. Like there are a lot of Xbox games that we have seen announced officially and then have just fallen off the face of the earth. And what is going on with that? Why can they not release games? They've got plenty of games to be released, but why are they not able to pull off actually completing and bringing to market any of these games? We're talking Fable. We're talking Hellblade. We've been talking about Hellblade since before that system was even announced.
I thought that game was coming out when the system was launched.
It was the launch game. I thought that was. Then it was the launch window game, and now here we are. 3 years after the fact? Maybe we'll see it this year, but I'm not even convinced of that because we have not really seen hide nor hair of it. You know,
and then the games you have released all had problems.
Yep. And you can only blame COVID for so long.
Yeah, because I'm saying, like, a Sony, they came out with some games.
Mm-hmm. Everybody else is putting out games.
Yeah. I mean, Nintendo's biggest, like, flop, which was just a flop in perspective. I mean, like, not in money-wise. But just like the Pokemon game, because it looked and played horrible. Like it shouldn't have
looked and played horribly. The best-selling game in the series and one of the best-selling games ever to exist.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like oh, people just love Pokemon. They're addicted to it. That's really what it is. But that was probably their biggest gaffe. That was the biggest. Like the biggest gaffe is something I've seen from like one of their biggest franchise from a big franchise from Nintendo.
Yeah,
was that game. Now, Flashy, that still worked out for him. But yeah, it's like that Pokemon said, man, this game looks freaking horrible. But I mean, it still played, but still, it was still a Pokemon game. It still played okay. I mean, it was just, it had like some chunk issues, but it wasn't to a point where like it was unplayable. It wasn't an unplayable game. That's a little that's the difference. It wasn't broken.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft has things that were broken, like Redfall had some things that happened that was broken and things of that nature. Then during Halo didn't have like co-op in the campaign until freaking over a year later.
Yeah.
And then it's just I'm trying to think what the damn Microsoft, they had Halo and what the fuck they have. I mean, High Five was a Rush was a surprise.
Yeah.
And like it's good to have those things, but that's become like, oh, that's their biggest thing. That's the best thing they had.
Meanwhile, that should be the bonus thing.
I'm trying to think whether the Microsoft have. Man, it's been disappointing. This generation has been disappointing Microsoft. Like value wise, I mean, like I said, for me, like the Game Pass is where it's at. But I haven't felt a need to buy a new console. Like my friend, he could get a new console if he wanted. One of my friends, and now he's thinking about it because he's saying like games are exclusively just being put for new gen. He's like, darn man, I gotta get me a console. Because I think like with Redfall came, I said, man, this is only new console exclusive, man. I said, well, you can still play because he didn't really try out the streaming stuff because I think it didn't work a while ago, so he didn't even try it again. I told him to try it again. I said, I think it's better. It might work in where you work at or you live at. So I don't know if he did try it, but since that game sucks, it don't matter. It doesn't even freaking matter now. So he still has not really found a real reason to get a Series X yet. He hasn't got to that point yet where he can't play a game that he wants. Like, yes, he has a Switch. He's not really big on a PS5. I mean, the only game he ever wants is Spider-Man, but he hasn't even beaten the Spider-Man on PS4 yet, and he has that. So that's what's really holding him from even getting a PS5. It's like, hey, I still got the PS4 games I didn't beat. It's nothing. Series X really has. It's hard to argue it. It's hard to argue to pay for that console. Really. Like it's the most powerful console out there, but nothing to really show it off.
No.
And like that's why, like, I'm more interested in getting like the Steam Deck or whatever this Asus thing if they ever bring a fucking price down, because that's $600 and $700 for a bigger one. I think it is. It's kind of steep. What's that thing called?
The ROG Ally, Republic of Gamers Ally.
Yeah, because I was like, damn, that's expensive. But it said like, but it's 1080p. What they said, screen they have up there.
1080p, 120 hertz. It's more powerful than the Steam Deck. It runs Windows, so you can get like Game Pass natively on there without having to reinstall the. But
my Steam Deck is most likely going to be docked to my TV, and I know that the power is still. But I'm like, if it's still, just for the money. Like if I can still play the games I want on a Steam Deck, then I'll take the less power and do it. I mean, I wouldn't mind that Asus though. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. It's a dock too, right? You can dock to your TV.
Yeah, I think it. I'm not sure if it just has HDMI out or if it does like USB-C over HDMI or something like that. But I'm pretty sure you can just hook it up to an external display. Yeah.
And so that's the thing. Like, I do like that it has Windows 11, I guess, up there.
Yeah.
So that's nice of them. That's nice that it has that. Man, I just need bet some more money, man. And bet some money on these games, Daniel. I can get it.
Got a taste of the win. Here it comes.
Yeah, I gotta stop spending on burgers. All right, because I only bet small bets, so I only get like $20. The most I get $20, which is pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Yeah. Well, you gotta see how much I put in. How much I put in for it.
I'm getting 20 back. So really, $700.
All right, so I guess we can get into the big game now. Damn, we didn't even talk about Zelda. We're an hour and 16 minutes in, and we didn't even talk about Zelda yet.
Redfall was always going to be a long conversation, Dominic.
Yeah. So now the big game, the big release. People always say game of the year. I'm kind of saying that too, so that's why I'm saying like, so what's number 2? That's the actual game of the year. So Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. We both played it. You played it more than I did. So you can go ahead since I've been talking about Redfall.
Yeah. So basically, it's been talked about a little bit, but we haven't really seen much from Nintendo on this game. Basically, we're taking Breath of the Wild, using that open world Hyrule, and then adding a sky portion to it. It seems like from a little bit of what I've seen so far, there might also be an additional area in addition to the sky stuff. but I have not explored that yet. It still fits kind of that similar kind of style of this open world. You have multiple shrines just littered throughout the environment that you can pop into, solve these little puzzles, and get some kind of gear or some kind of upgrade that you find in there. They start you out similarly to the Breath of the Wild, where you're kind of on this area that you're kind of locked into to do your tutorial stuff. They give you your 3 new powers, the ability, I forget what it's called, the whatever hand that lets you put things together, basically build stuff, Ratchet and Clank, or not Ratchet and Clank, Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts style. Then you're also given the fuse ability that lets you do kind of the same thing but with weapons. And then you get finally the elevation, I think it is, power that lets you just kind of swim up through objects and reach the top of them. So you can basically, like, if there's a cave that has kind of a overpass and then an area on top of that you could be on, you can just basically shoot up through it, swim through the rock, and pop out the other side. It seems like they've done a lot of this to kind of address some of people's issues with the previous game. You know, you still have your weapon degradation stuff.
What's the issue? Yeah. What issues then?
Things like that. Basically, weapon degradation, climbing, stuff like that. I think a lot of these powers are intended to kind of minimize people's issues with those. Even something as simple as, you know, it takes a decent amount of time to get across the map. I think the introduction of basically the ability to build cars could, address some of those issues as well. Now, from my experience so far, I was telling you about this a little bit off podcast, but like, I'm somewhat enjoying the building aspect of it right now, but I feel like the time I'm committing to building a thing is then counterbalanced by the fragility of that thing. Like, I'm going to spend 10 minutes putting together this elaborate boat, and then I just cross like 5 feet of water, and it's like, okay, maybe the next time I don't put that much effort into it. Maybe next time I take 2 logs, stick them together, throw a fan on it, and I'm done. I'd be interested to see deeper into this game, like how much my level of interest in actually spending time to create creative things is actually gonna work out. The fuse stuff, I'm not really digging that too much. The kind of weapon melding thing, at least for the melee stuff. The arrow stuff is, it's weird because like you do it on a per arrow basis. So you bring up your bow, and then you select, like once you've got your arrow notched, you select what item you want to attach to it. So you're doing that on a per arrow basis. And I feel like if I'm doing that frequently, it's like if there's one arrow that I want to be shooting, like some kind of fire arrow or something, or a bomb arrow, like I would like to see that maybe made a little easier. And as far as like the melee stuff, once you fuse something, you can go into the menu and defuse it, and that just destroys like whatever you attach. So like if you started out with a stick and you added a rock to it, you can have it remove the rock, but the rock goes away. That's fine, I guess, whatever. I haven't really done that yet. But I pick up stuff like these already fused weapons, I guess, basically. These like rock hammers, you know, as some of these enemies are carrying these things around, and I think they're just regular weapons, and then I go to fuse it with something and it tells me that it's already fused, and I'm like, well, I didn't fuse it yet. Like, that aspect of it has me a little bit frustrated. The elevation thing seems totally fine. So that stuff is fine, and I think will be a nice addition to what the Breath of the Wild formula was so far. As far as just gameplay wise, I'm having fun. I'm going through it. I like the aspect of this is an open world. I can just go off and wander and do whatever I want. But also they give me objectives. I think that's what kept me going through that first game, because I'm very much a guy that can get sidetracked and eventually just fall off a game, where this game is giving me direction. I know where I'm supposed to be headed. I might veer off that path because I see a shrine on the way, but I can find my way back to that path relatively easy. So I think that's a positive for the way I play video games. I think the game's beautiful. I think it's still going to run into some technical issues. It's also a game that looks good on the portable screen because it's 720p, and it looks good from a distance on a television. But the closer you get to that game, the more you see the jagged nature of it. And they do an excellent job with the art style of kind of melding that stuff a little more, softening the edges from afar. But if you get on top of it, it's definitely a game that would benefit from a much more powerful hardware, which is why, you know, after all these years of rumors of like Switch Pros and whatnot, like we were relatively positive about that idea of it, because even with as many years of development as this game had, it feels like we're still going to see a lot of the issues that we saw with Breath of the Wild, despite the fact that, you know, a lot of the talk around that was, well, it was hampered by the Wii U. So once we get a game that's like fully dedicated to this hardware, then that's just not the reality of it. We're getting the stuff from like the professionals. I always forget that site when I need to quote it, but you know, the Digital Extremes, Digital Foundry. Yeah, that's it. The Digital Foundry people, like they've already put out their reports saying, yeah, like you find Kakariko Village and it's going to have slowdown just like it did in Breath of the Wild. So that's unfortunate. I think so far the grand scope of the game and the gameplay, I think, are going to do well enough to hold this game in high enough esteem that people aren't going to be too worried about that. This isn't going to be, you know, Redfall pre-launch where it's like, oh, well, 30 frames per second, can't play this game now. People are going to play this game. People are going to love this game, and it's going to run like shit sometimes. Hopefully, you know, the emulation scene kicks off well enough that it gets this game in good running shape. I've seen some stuff. I've, you know, stayed on the fringes a little bit just because I was waiting for the game to actually come out and play some of it before I started seeing like some of the more spoilery stuff from it. But it seems like day by day, week by week, the emulation scene of this game is improving. So it would be interesting to see a 4K 60 frames per second version of this game existing in some form or fashion, whether it be through means that Nintendo provides or not. But that's kind of what's going on with this game. Otherwise, the early stuff you're going to see, I mean, outside of the fact that you're in the sky, is very much going to be reminiscent of Breath of the Wild. That is very much a continuation of that game and a game built on the shoulders of that game. This is not going from Skyward Sword to Skyward Sword to Breath of the Wild or anything like that. This is Breath of the Wild going to more Breath of the Wild. And, you know, some people are going to like that. Some people are going to hate that. Some people might find some of the changes in this game to be an improvement, but there's definitely some kind of jank to it. You know, you and I, again, were talking before the podcast, but the fact that, and I'm pretty sure this was the case on Breath of the Wild, but like, excuse me, sorry. The fact that your run button and your jump button are in a place where you can't really easily push both of them at the same time. So it's hard to find yourself running and then jumping out of a run. And they don't give you like super crazy accessibility options or even the ability to remap buttons. I know you can do that in the Switch like firmware, like on a system level. But I don't want to do that just for one game that then is going to mess that up for everything else I play, you know? So that's another one of those things. It's like, oh yeah, this would maybe be a little better if you emulated it and gave yourself the ability to change those options on a per game basis. But I digress. So what are your feelings on it so far, Dominic?
All right, so far, okay, so I'm right at the beginning. I only did the second. No, I only did the first shrine. I'm going to the second shrine. Mm-hmm. No, or I did. No. Yes, that's right. At the first shrine, I only did the first shrine because I was able to glue stuff together.
Right.
That's as far as I got.
But you can't do weapons, yeah, right?
No, right. I can't do anything with weapons yet.
Gotcha.
So like I'm still right at the very beginning. The look of the game, it looks gorgeous for what it is, for what Zelda is. I mean, it still looks gorgeous. I mean, I still love the art style. Like the art style itself, like, and I mean, graphically, it still looks good. It's just we know limitation of the hardware. It's not. It can look better. Like if you just smooth it out, and I feel like this at least smooth it out. They just smooth this up or something. Man, it'll just look better, but it still looks good.
Give it a fresh coat of Vaseline.
Yeah, I mean, I love all the little graphical details they do with it. That they like they did with Breath of the Wild. I love how like the sway of the grass, the shadows, the way Link looks, his hair flows and stuff like that, and the material, and it all. I love all that stuff about the game. And okay, I'm trying to read this person's review before I can just copy what they say. How great this game is. I was joking. I ain't doing it. And I like the inventiveness, just like how I did like the shrine puzzles, like how inventive they were, and I can see now, like, oh my god. With this building stuff, I can just imagine what some of those shrines are, and imagine some of the things you can do in the world now that you could do, build like these different contraptions and stuff like that, like things I've seen. I see somebody build like a boat.
I saw someone building like a fully functional mech already.
All right. Oh, really? Like a robot?
Yeah, like you can control with the way they walk. They shoot off missiles and stuff. It's insane. I know the speed run time for this game is currently like 94 minutes. So
okay,
it's wild.
So I mean, but thing is, I know this is still just like how Breath of the Wild was. Like when I finally got to play the way I want to on the PC, I ended up stopping because I mean I just got burned out, and I started Breath of the Wild again right before the game was released, just playing around with that again. And they've done so much better as far as emulation with the Wii U one I'm playing. Still the Wii U version of it. Yeah. But it runs so well on my PC compared to what it did the first time I tried this. And like I like it even more. It's like, oh my god, this runs so perfectly. And me putting like little things like no breakable weapons and shit like that. I like that. Or I actually leave them breakable because I do want to keep switching weapons. I just have it lasts a little longer. They last longer than what they did before. And the stamina, definitely turned that off. Like I just do not care for that.
Yeah.
And I was reading people arguments for it because somebody put down there was a Reddit page about people talking about people who complain about stamina, saying like that's part of the gameplay. That's part of the game of you exploring. And I get it. I totally understand what they're saying because I see that is the game. Like you exploring, figuring out how to get to places with the limited stamina you have. I just don't care to do that. I just felt like there's a lot of game here. I don't need any more. I don't need that to be one of them. Like, that's nice that it's there, though, for y'all people. But I wish it was an option for me where I didn't have to care. Because I'm still going to explore.
Right.
I'm still going to look everywhere. But I don't want that. I don't want the game within the game within the game. Like I don't want to go that far with it. And I get their choice. So I'm like, well, it's their choice, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But it's just that hinders me a bit more so than the breakable weapons, because yes, you can pick up weapons everywhere. That's what a lot of people say. Even though I don't care for those weapons, I pick up everywhere. That's the thing. I find a weapon I want. I don't want, but I want to save it because I'm like, I want to use this.
Right.
I don't want to save. What's the point of me saving it? What's the fuck of having it if I'm not going to use it? Like I say, you save it for certain enemies. I don't know. I ain't saving shit. Like I just want to use it. I just hope I find a better weapon next time. Yeah. So like those problems, they're still there. Whatever. But I want to play this a little bit longer, maybe. Just to get far enough to really start building stuff, just to see what I can do. But that's the thing with me. I feel like I'm going to burn myself. It's another game. I'll burn myself out because I get frustrated, or I'm trying to do something that's a little complicated, and I'm trying to figure it out. Then even if I finally do it, I'm like, I want to take a break, and then I end up just not playing it anymore for a long time. And I feel like this is the game that seems to do that. And I feel like this is the game that will definitely do that. Because now when people are saying like, oh, all the things you do with like building stuff, it's like, oh shit, well that's just more stuff for me to not even finish the game. That's exactly what it is.
More distractions.
But I mean, it's cool. It's cool all the things they let you do in this world and everything. But it's just not the. It's not the game for me. Like I said, if there was a great story in Zelda, like there was a nice story, not just I don't want just objectives does help, but if there was like a story that I feel like I can really immerse myself with in Zelda, I would definitely be playing this game. Like I will go through it. But since the story has always been bare, this one is different. I mean, it's different. Now you got the people in the sky, and I guess they died, and I'm seeing the ghosts, and the mechs are still alive. Everything. I mean, yeah, the world is beautiful, but it's just I don't want to still. Yes, I like the idea of like, oh, you make your own story. They say I like that, yeah, but I also wanted to have their story too at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I got the story. Well, the story is basic. I guess you're saving the prince. Well, I don't know where the princess is right now. I don't know what the fuck happened to her. But she just disappeared, as far as I know. But I would be into it. But it's just that this feels like a sandbox with some missions, and I do them. I do some missions. I mean, I do some of the quests. I can do a whole lot of extra stuff too, just to have fun with the game, and that's fun. But then I end up stopping, like because I don't. The end game, I realize the end game is not. Is it worth it? It's like I felt like, well, I did mostly everything. I mean, I did. I ain't gonna say I did everything, but I don't know what more. Like, I'll get to a point where I'm burnt out. Where I feel like, is there any more to make me do? Want to keep going to beat the game? And I feel like that's the type of game it is, that I'm just going to get burnt out on it and don't care to really finish it. Like I like open world games, but I need something. Like, I mean, see, like with Red Dead Redemption 2 and 1, their stories what kept me going. Like, or when you do missions, it kept me going. Like, I still don't know why there is a voice actor in this game. Like, why they only have it sometimes?
I was gonna say, it's limited, which is almost even more annoying.
I'm like, why? Like, why did you even have? Like, you have it sometimes. Like, why just have it all the time? Like, what's holding you back from this?
Not wanting to pay these voice actors even more.
Because it's not money. You have enough money. It doesn't make any sense that you don't have voice acting in the game. Like this, I don't know. I just feel like it could be like this game, as great as it is, like as great as it can do more too.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know why it choose to be that way. I mean, it sounds so funny that I'm saying it's limiting itself, but it It is. It's like I don't like the base. I don't know why. Like and the accessibility options, that's pretty bad. I heard like you can't even turn off subtitles during cutscenes. That's crazy.
That is weird.
Yeah, because now that you got voice acting, now I can see if you didn't have voice acting. Like so it's like, oh, well, I guess, yeah, I'm not going to know what the hell to say. You know, it was stuff to this read. But you can't, yeah, because somebody was like, man, why don't they give you the option to turn the subtitles off during the cutscenes or something like that? And I think it was something else. I mean, it's a lot. Yeah, they are really behind on accessibility stuff compared to these other studios.
Yeah. Which is kind of wild because, like, if you want to make it like a cultural thing, like Sony is a Japanese company and they are almost at the forefront of this stuff.
And yeah, they're a Japanese company, but their best games are not sold over there.
Yeah,
they don't sell over there. That's what's funny. So it's still Western. It's still the Western games that are really doing it. Yeah. Sony is like the opposite of what Sega and Nintendo is. They'll let the Western people tell them, like, hey, we want to do this stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, y'all go ahead. We're not going to feel shame from if y'all do stuff that's slightly better than other Japanese people. We're not going to feel shame in that.
Well, like, I'm sitting here trying to think of like what a Japanese Sony game is now. I can't really think of any.
No. I don't know any. I think they do have a studio, but they probably ain't making no games.
Yeah, nothing recent.
Shit. They really don't. They just let the third parties come. Well, let them come, as in they
pay them
off.
Sums of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, their Japanese studio is the one that did Astrobot. So, like, okay, they're doing good things, but like, maybe they should make a full game.
All right, yeah, but Zelda, the great game. I know, like, yeah, everybody loves it. But it's pretty much the same for me. It's a good game. It's not really what I want. It's not my favorite kind of Zelda game. I still prefer the other ones more so than this. But it's nice that it's there and everybody can talk about it and post their contraptions and shit they do. So I just have to wait till I have a stronger PC or get a Steam Deck where I can play the illegal copy of it, the emulated copy, before I can use my cheats and do it how I want to do. Yeah. All right, you got anything else to say?
No, I think that's it for me.
All right. You know what? I am going to... Well, hold up. How many games do I have to say on the flashback segment? Because I might skip it.
Not a whole lot. There's a couple things of note, but it's very few, like, large things. And very few in general.
Yeah, I might hold out and just say all of the rest of May next week.
Gotcha.
Okay. So we're just going to skip to gaming news. We're not going to have a flashback segment, but we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, get to the gaming news.
All right.
And we're back. And now we're getting to the gaming news. So what we got, Dan?
All right, Dominic. First up here, we got Midnight Suns for the Nintendo Switch has been officially canceled. They put on a little live stream, I think 2 weeks ago now. The week that we hadn't recorded, where they basically said, hey, these are the last-gen versions, the PS4 and the Xbox versions. We're coming out with those, and the Switch one has been canceled, kind of in passing. That's not too surprising, considering the fact that sounds like that game did not sell particularly well. I don't know what kind of struggles they may have been having putting it out on the Switch. That game wasn't like a graphical powerhouse, but it looked good and probably would have required a decent amount of work to get it up to the Switch standards, even, coming out on the Xbox One and the PS4. So.
How people feel about the Diablo 3 on the Switch?
I'm trying to think if I have any knowledge about what people were saying about that. I thought the kind of tenure around that was like it was decent, but let's see. Reviews were pretty positive, it seems like. GameSpot gave it a 9 out of 10 for the Diablo 3 Eternal Collection for the Switch. So, that is even higher than I would have expected. Sounds like it handled it pretty well, but, it's an older game, so,
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was just curious about just the type of game.
Yeah. It seems like it handled it.
Yeah, that's
better.
unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate the way that game kind of was received in general. It's a game I'm pretty positive coming out of that free weekend on. It's not something that I'm still rushing out to buy, which maybe is, its biggest problem. Maybe it has longer legs. As it drops in price, people will grab it, but it's been to some pretty low prices already. So I just wonder. I feel like that game's going to kind of, I'd say die on the vine, but it feels like it's already off the vine and sitting on the countertop dead. So that sucks.
I'm saying, like, is it selling worse than XCOM 2 did?
That I don't know, honestly. You would hope not. I mean, it's just simply from the fact that it has the Marvel license attached to it, but...
Because that's what I want. That's what I want to know. Because I want to know if that just tells you that license is not big. It's not there to just be. It can't be just sold or based on name anymore.
Yeah,
that's what I'm curious about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd have to look into that. All right. Next up, Dominic, we got news of a new Double Dragon game. Double Dragon Gaiden: Rise of the Dragon has been announced. Unfortunately, is going to be launching with local co-op only, with online supposedly coming at a later date. This has a very like Scott Pilgrim-esque pixel art style with kind of chunky characters.
What is game development? Is that what they go for now? Is this what they do? Like they say, we will make a date and see what can we do up to this date, and then we'll add stuff later.
Maybe.
Like, why can't shit just come out and have everything like when it's supposed to? Like, it's not even DLC. This is just basic.
Yeah.
Like, you can play
fully
online.
Realized game. Why can't we get those anymore? Because that's why I say like allegedly, because I wonder like if the idea behind it is that it's not going to be there at launch. Are you then saying like, could it be where if this game doesn't sell particularly well, you don't put the effort into
you don't put it out,
launching it online?
Well, the thing is, for me, I'm not buying like Daniel. It could be a great game. I'm not buying it until it has the online. Yeah, because I mean that's the whole point. For me,
we're past that at this point. Like that's what drives me a little crazy about this is like, why are there not systems in place from the console makers that just, this is the stuff that you need to, or even, I don't know, like from Unreal, why are there not just systems in place to make this work? I mean, there's stuff on Steam. There's stuff built into Steam where it's like we can just basically turn your local co-op games into online games. Why is that not the case on these systems? And if that's the case, then why is this not just a default thing, right? Like I understand if you don't necessarily have the development resources, but take advantage of that kind of stuff, right? So like why is Microsoft not offering that service? Why is not Sony not offering that service? If Steam can do it, makes me wonder.
It's just really no excuse, man. I don't know. People are just nickel and diming. Like they are just trying to save money everywhere. Yeah, like I don't know. Like especially after Ninja Turtles, I'm like, dude, Get your online shit together.
Yeah. Double Dragon is one of these weird things to me because like Double Dragon is a name to me that's like synonymous with video games. Meanwhile, there's not like a single game in this series that I look to and I go like, oh yeah, that's a game that people are still talking about. You know, it's in the conversation of a great game. And I was trying to think back, like Double Dragon Neon had a pretty cool art style. This one, like the Scott Pilgrim art style fit Scott Pilgrim because Scott Pilgrim was like a very much like video game homage type thing. Whereas like this just feels off. I feel like the Streets of Rage kind of art style that they went with on that last game would fit a Double Dragon game much better than this one. What are you thinking?
Yeah. I mean, I actually look. Oh, is there a trailer for this game?
Yeah. Let me see.
See, I didn't get a look at the game. Yeah. Let me see. Double Dragon. What's it called? Gaiden, right?
Yeah. And like it's.
Oh yeah, it has that old style. Style. Yeah, I would prefer it. Yeah.
And like it's being co-created by like Arc Systems. Like, could you imagine a beat 'em up that looked as good as like one of their fighting games? Like, come on.
Yeah, because I like the look of Streets of Rage.
Mm-hmm.
I like what they did with that.
That game looks awesome.
I don't see why you have to make it look like a Nintendo type of look. Like Double Dragon, yeah, I don't think Double Dragon needs to be like that. It's like Ninja Turtles, because when Ninja Turtles has that Super Nintendo arcade look, but it had an art style that, you know, is pretty good. It still has that cartoonish kind of Ninja Turtle art style that makes it.
It was reminiscent of like the cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. This, I feel like. I mean, it's nice that it looks like this, but I don't know. I kind of do wish it was.
It looks kind of budget.
Yeah, but I think maybe they feel like the art style, say like this style is like supposed to be. Oh, we gotta make everything look nostalgic, but I feel like it didn't have to. The Streets of Rage didn't do that.
No,
it didn't have to do that.
And I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe they also didn't want to. They wanted to differentiate themselves from Streets of Rage, but. I don't know. At the end of the day, it just feels kind of unfortunate because I mean, I don't like it personally. So I guess it's just me just saying I don't like it, but at the same time, it feels just kind of
I mean, to me, I'm okay with it, but I would have preferred it not to be.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, next up, Dominic, Hollow Knight Silk Song. We finally got some news about that game, the follow-up to Hollow Knight. Last seen as part of Microsoft's presser saying, you know, it'd be out within the next 6 months. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Their community manager took to Twitter to basically announce a delay. There's no new date, just basically saying, hey, it's not going to make it out within the first half of 2023. This is a game that I look forward to. I still have not beaten that first game, so I'm not like, oh my god, I need it now. So, like, but at the same time, I know there's a large audience for this game that has been anticipating it for quite a while now. So, like, I just want this game to come out, you know, complete. Like we were just talking about, games don't really do that anymore. So, like, just give this game the time that it needs to finish. It's theoretically still a smaller indie team, you know, Team Cherry that works on this game. So if they need the time and they have the resources to give themselves the time, I think they just need to do that. And this game will come when this game comes. So that's kind of where it is with that.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Dominic, we talked about it a little bit. You mentioned it, the Asus ROG Ally, ROG, Republic of Gaming. They're like kind of niche brand for super extreme game stuff. That thing is basically a Steam Deck competitor. It is a portable handheld PC. It is launching June 13th for $700. That is $50 more than the current top tier Steam Deck, the one with the matte display and the most storage. It comes with a 1080p screen and 120 hertz, which is an improvement over the Steam Deck. I think Steam Deck's is 720p and only goes up to 60 hertz. It's also got a faster, more modern processor. It runs Windows 11 instead of like a proprietary OS or Linux. So you will have Game Pass support right out of the box. It's also going to come with 3 months free of Game Pass Ultimate, which is pretty cool. There's going to be a slightly less powerful version coming in Q3 of this year that will launch at $599. This thing looks pretty cool. As far as like Steam Deck competitors go, you also have like the Ion Neos that have been around for a while that are far more expensive. They're usually in like the thousands of dollars. It's nice seeing someone come along and price things so aggressively. I mean, obviously $700 and $600 respectively are still quite expensive. But when you're talking about a replacement for a gaming PC where you may find yourself spending somewhere around that for just the GPU,
around that price, yeah.
It's competitive. I think the idea of just having competitors out there for the Steam Deck, like these companies realizing that there is a market for this kind of device, I think that's really cool. And I hope to see more companies get into that space to maybe drive the prices down even more. More competition theoretically, it leads to results like that. So I'm excited to see kind of where this war goes with this kind of stuff. That the Steam Deck and the Ally seem like pretty good devices. So I'm here for it. What do you think, Dominic?
Yeah, I do want to see some more competition because by the time I have finances ready to get one, I'll have a lot to choose from, and that's what I want. I mean, this is what I've been talking about ever since Nvidia had the
Shield.
The Shield,
yeah.
Well, thing is, see, there was multiple. It was called the Shield, but then there's another Nvidia, the Shield, where it was just hooked up to your TV. It wasn't a portable. Yeah. So that's why I was getting confused. Like, what's that called? A Shield something or something? I don't know. If they just kept the name and just
I think when they moved away from like the portable situation, they just kind of used that branding on that set-top box.
Because I remember when that first came out, I really wanted that, and and then it was even like people were still selling it, for cheap, like on eBay or something like that. But now we're actually getting those things back.
Yeah.
Like Nvidia was too ahead of its time.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, especially like now the peripheral, whatever, the kind of expansion of game streaming stuff, whether it be from the cloud or your PC or even sometime in the future, your Xbox, that stuff just around the house kind of streaming. That it's cool to have one of those kinds of devices, separate from your phone, which also you can do. So, yeah. All right, Dominic, next up, Super Mega Baseball 4 is coming on June 2nd, and this time they are bringing MLB legends like David Big Papi Ortiz and Babe Ruth and Willie Mays. So, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, that series has been pretty good. But I know my friend, he's really into it. He really likes it, and I played some of it, and I did enjoy it. I just never really stuck around for it, but I mean, a good arcadey baseball game. I feel like that's the best of them right now, and I like the look of it. I like and I like what they're going for. like just a different, not so much a different. I want to say, well, somewhat of a different market, but just at least a different type of game, not just a simulation. And I don't know about microtransactions in that game. Like, I know the first game it didn't have it. I don't think the second game did either. So I don't know if it even does
but
that.
But now they're owned by EA, Dominic.
Oh yeah, so yeah, they're gonna have tons of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not free to play or something like that. You gotta unlock Dave Ortiz.
Man, I didn't even think about that.
Like
I wouldn't be surprised if they had announced like, hey, because it's such like an arcadey thing, like it's not competing with, any other. It's not competing with Sony's
the show.
Yeah, the show. Thank you. It's not competing with that, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, how can we milk the money out of these people? We'll make it free to play, and people that are playing the show might also start picking this up, and we'll sell them some card packs or whatever, So yeah, we shall see. But that game, that trailer looks pretty good. They got some new stadiums in there too. I think they said 6 more, which I think there were already like 6 or something like that in the previous games. So yeah, that should be pretty cool. All right, Dominic, next up, we got rumors for the next Mortal Kombat game. Basically, all things point to that being NetherRealm's next game. It sounds like it's not going to be a Mortal Kombat 12, though. It may be called Mortal Kombat 1, in fact. They're going to basically reboot this series again. That last game had, Chronica in there controlling time, and at the end it was Liu Kang, right, that ends up with like her hourglass. So
yeah, and I don't know. See, I didn't play the Aftermath, so I can't. I mean, I played the Aftermath, but I didn't
beat it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what's the ending of that and how that ties. I need to go back to finishing that up.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. It sounds like, they're still owned by Warner Brothers right now. So the rumors are that some of the guest characters that would appear in this game would be Peacemaker from, DC, and then Homelander from The Boys, which those would be pretty cool characters and pretty fitting for a Mortal Kombat. I think.
Yeah.
So that'd be neat. I also just threw this in here.
A game for all ages. Yes.
Of course, yeah. I threw this in here because it's, kind of tangentially related. Mortal Kombat, the movie, the second one, at the end of the first one, they tease that Johnny Cage is going to be in the next movie. There are some rumors out there saying that Carl Urban, again from The Boys, is going to play Johnny Cage.
I don't know who that is.
He's Billy the Butcher in The Boys.
Oh, okay.
He also played like Judge Dredd in that Dredd movie.
He's gonna play an American.
The Star Wars. Yeah. So that's the thing is like I just wanted to kind of have the conversation real quick of like The Miz, right, is like the perfect epitome of Johnny Cage. And I just feel kind of sad for him that like he might not get this role because is he the best actor? Probably not. But like Johnny Cage is not the best actor.
That movie? Who the hell is in that movie?
Exactly. Yeah, so like he would have fit perfectly.
I think The Miz would be all right in that movie. Shit.
Yeah, that's true. Like I can't think of like a single person that's like a big name, like high level actor in that first movie.
It's not that type of movie. I mean, if they were going for that, they failed.
Yeah, so I was kind of disappointed when I saw this news. Like Carl Urban's a good actor, but like I don't know if that's what I'm looking for in a Mortal Kombat movie when you could literally just have The Miz, who is Johnny Cage in real life, just be that guy. And I'm sad for The Miz if he does not get that role. All right, Dominic, next up, Summer Games Fest is right around the corner. Devolver Digital has announced that.
God damn.
Yeah, like it's so weird because like May just started, but May is also halfway over at this point, and it feels like June will be starting.
One of the worst months in the year, man, because it has both Mother's Day and my mom's birthday there. And I just have to worry about that. My birthday's in there, but I cancel that out.
I mean, that's what it should do, right? Then you should only have to worry about either Mother's Day or your mom's birthday, because it's like, look, don't get me anything for my birthday. I'm not going to get you anything for yours. You get Mother's Day. That's all you get.
But that doesn't work.
No, that's always the way it's got to be. You just got to start making like macaroni art or something for her. Like, look, this has got to be enough. I'm still your son, after all. Just think of me as a child. All right. So Digital Devolver has announced that they're doing their show on June 9th. They always do this like over the top Nintendo Direct-esque, video that they pre-record. And then, of course, I just figured since we were talking about them, we would also make note of the other ones that we know about already. Xbox is doing their thing on June 11th, as well as like their Starfield long form thing after that. And then Ubisoft on the 12th is doing their Ubisoft Forward. Summer Game Fest itself, I got to look up, though, because I did not make note of that. That is on June 8th. Okay, so that actually kicks off everything. So that's a day before the Devolver thing. All right. That actually is good for Keeley, because he actually can get out in front of everything, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, but that means we are even closer to, we are literally 1, 2, 3 weeks away from the biggest video game news of the summer, Dominic. Is there anything that you're looking forward to or predictions that you might have for what we may see?
Let me see. I honestly don't know.
Also forgot to mention that there's some speculation that Sony's thing, that Sony may be doing a bigger showcase before the end of this month even. So they may be the true kickoff to something, because I think the talk around that is, especially now that E3 is not happening, that Konami might have something to announce at Sony's thing. And from the rumors I have heard, it might be something Metal Gear Solid related, like a remake of possibly 3, I think it was. Is that something you'd be interested in?
And 3, maybe 3. I wouldn't mind going to that, because that's not as memorable as 2. I played 2 a million times. 3 I only beat twice.
Gotcha.
It's not as memorable as 2, or 1. So yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
Those games, like looking back at them, the controls always seemed kind of like convoluted. I would like to see a more modernized, streamlined type game out of one of those, and see what they would be able to pull off with that. But this is modern day Konami. I don't know what to expect out of them anymore, so I guess we will see. But that does feel like that would be pretty big for Sony if they had that to show off, which means, Microsoft, you gotta figure your shit out, man. Like, it can't just be, we're trying to get it together for the gamers. Following all this Redfall stuff, we talked a bit about like the discourse that's been going around it, and how you don't think it's a particularly great game. As a result, like Phil Spencer had to go out there and do some PR work. He was on the kind of funny Xcast. They did an interview with him. Basically, he was like, look, we didn't expect it to be what it ended up being. We had internal testing, and they scored higher than, what it's getting right now. Because I think at the time it was in like the 60s. It might be into the 50s now on Metacritic.
How about the user scores? Are they better?
I doubt it. They might be even worse.
The user scores was pretty bad for Zelda.
Oh yeah,
at one point. Yeah, they were at 56.
Jesus, wow. All right.
Yeah,
but
I review bombed the shit out of it with all my accounts.
you signed up for a lot of accounts, Dominic. Goddamn. All right. But yeah, Phil Spencer basically, said this isn't the way we wanted it to be. I take responsibility for this game being the way it is. We should have helped that team out a little sooner. There are many things that you should have done to help that game out, including it's like you said, either cancel it or at the very least delay it. But it feels like Microsoft.
That's what I'm saying. Why even put out this? It makes it.
It feels like they're desperate at this point, Dominic. That's what my conclusion is. Is they're like, we need something to put out, and obviously that's not the right decision, because if you put out trash, and not to be that harsh to Redfall, but it doesn't sound good. You're not kicking off the conversation that you want. So I don't know. At a certain point, you don't have any games out, but do you want to put out unfinished products just to keep your brand out there?
Because now people are going to say, what are you?
We started this conversation at the beginning of the year about how maybe Phil Spencer's not the right guy anymore, because that Xbox is a brand definitely improved after Don Matrick left and Phil Spencer came on, and has been doing the glad hand thing and wearing his t-shirts that are gonna show off the next game. But out of that, we got what? Battletoads was trash too.
That's what some guys were saying. They were like, you know what? It looked like Xbox, at least branding got better. But as far as games, what has come out?
Yeah. Because all we keep doing is saying, oh, well, next year is going to be a really good year for them. And like I said earlier, they've got games that they have announced. They've got a ton of games that they have announced that I would be looking forward to if I had any idea when they were coming out. Fable. I loved Fable. I'm not putting a brain cell towards that game, because the last thing that we saw was several years ago, or at least at this point feels like several years ago, and they haven't mentioned it again. And I don't know what the hell's going on with that game. And there are so many of those things. Perfect Dark. I don't know if it's, COVID messing with my timeline or what, but I can't tell you if that game was announced last year or 3 years ago. But I know it was announced, and it's a game that's real. So where's it at? And that's not even counting the stuff that we know is in development, but they haven't announced, a new Gears game. They've got so much. And, here I am hoping that they pick up Activision, because I think they'll make another Tony Hawk game, which Activision doesn't seem interested in doing. But would the reality just be that they announce a Tony Hawk game, and then 3 years later, I'm wondering where this next Tony Hawk game is? I'm starting to lose faith in their leadership's ability to manage making games. Phil Spencer is a great face for them. Even these interviews, he goes out there, he looks humble, he says, I'm sorry, I apologize, I won't do it again, but actions speak louder than words, Phil, and we'll see how Starfield comes out. I guess that's what it's going to come down to, right? Is that game got delayed. Did you give it enough time for that not to be a hot mess? And that's going to be difficult, because you're overcoming a legacy of games that were released by Bethesda as hot messes. We still had a lot of fun with them, but they were broken, buggy messes in a lot of ways. And I don't know if you're going to get away with it as much this time. The microscope on Microsoft is very intense right now. So if you don't put out a 10 out of 10, I'm not sure you're going to get the discourse that you want around that game.
No, and that sucks. it sucks. It's like you're not even putting, like, it's one thing you're putting out good games. Like, let's say you got an 8, you got like a 9, eight not like 9s and something like that, like 8.5s to say like that. And so if you get something that's be like a 7.5 or something, it's like, oh, that's not as good, but it's not a bad game. It's just not as good.
Yeah.
Now you're at the point where you didn't put out anything good in a while.
You haven't put out anything.
Yeah,
you can get away with
that,
putting out 4 8s, but you can't get away with putting out nothing and then one game and it turn out to be an 8. It doesn't work that way. The math doesn't add up. You need 24 by the end of the year. Or 32, I guess.
Like, I didn't even have no announcement of no Gears. Like, Gears, I don't know nothing about. And that's like my right now favorite franchise for Microsoft. And
because they killed Halo, Dominic, that's why.
Yeah, so, well, Halo, I mean, I like Halo. I mean, Halo was never my favorite franchise.
Oh, okay.
I liked it. Gears became my favorite. When Gears came out, it became my favorite.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Microsoft needs to figure itself out, and we need to start seeing games. Like, Game Pass, again, it's a fantastic idea, but if you don't have the games to support it, and it doesn't necessarily always have to be AAAs, I'll happily go 4 months at a time where it's just like a really good indie game. But eventually you got to have one of those big hitters to make it look like viable competition. Because eventually Sony will figure out, oh yeah, I only need to put out a couple of, indie hits kind of thing, maybe a third party thing that's bigger here or there on their PlayStation Plus stuff. And then eventually people will be like, okay, yeah, I can wait a month and a half until they put up, Horizon or Ratchet and Clank or whatever the next, big first party type thing is. Maybe Sony has it figured out that they don't need to cannibalize their first day sales by putting this thing on their subscription service,
Yeah.
I mean, Microsoft is doing that because they're fighting from behind, right? Like if they were number one, they probably would have never made their first party games day one, even if they were trying to sell this service, because they were selling Xboxes. But now they're in the position where they're like, yeah, we don't care if we sell Xboxes. We're just trying to sell the service to you. So obviously they have made some more consumer friendly decisions, but there's a limit to that.
See, that's the thing. Yeah, it is a limit. And that's the thing. It hurts me, even for me, for the competition, because that means Sony knows that they don't have to do nothing that I can benefit. Only thing I can say is that they put better games out, but they're not going to put like a nice deal or something like, oh yeah, we because Xbox is putting they got this Game Pass and they putting out good games on it. Like we got to change. That means we got to do something with our plan to make it better for people that want to come over. They don't have to do anything.
No. You just have to watch Microsoft.
Look where Nintendo's at. You see, they made a game $70 for no fucking reason.
Yep. No, they did it for a reason because everybody else is doing it, and they're like, our game is not going to be worth less than this game.
I'm talking about they don't have the excuse.
No,
they don't have an excuse to do that.
No, we talked about that. It's not the step up in the generation, right? Like it's not like, oh, the resources cost more. It's just, oh no, we've decided that everybody else is selling their games for $70. So guess what? You're selling them too. So yeah, it's the exact opposite, right? It's like, oh, when everybody falls in line, that's when the customer gets the short end of the stick, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. These companies need to do better, and Microsoft in particular needs to definitely figure their shit out, because that's disappointing. All right, Dominic, did you see anything else before we get into the new releases this week?
Hey, how do you feel about the Kotaku guy? He put out, because Kotaku in Nintendo, I guess they had something that happened years ago.
Yeah, I think
Nintendo
basically they got like blacklisted, right? So like they wouldn't sell them preview or review copies or anything like that.
But how do you feel about like him putting out that tweet of like a American putting down like he killed like he has symbols, like he has Nazi symbols for how many Nazis he shot down, and then he has like Japanese symbols.
Yeah,
like,
you sent me that one, right?
Japan. Yeah.
Like,
'cause some people are making a big deal saying like, oh, this is racist or something. I know what he's going for.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I like the guy. Like, I don't really know. I mean, I know of him from doing articles. But I know what he's going for. I don't think he's being racist. I know
his choice of imagery is maybe a little questionable considering all the parties involved. But no, he's just like, oh, yeah, we got another one, basically. Like, here we go again, because fighting the good
people,
fight.
I mean, I know. Yeah, the people who are mostly hate are people who already hate Kotaku. So they try to find anything. And, like, they don't really care. They're just saying he's being racist, knowing he's not.
Right.
They just, but I mean, probably not even knowing. They're just going to say, oh, because they don't like him. So, because it doesn't make sense. Because the thing is, it's like, we know where the image is from. It's from World War II. And you see the Nazi image. You really think, so just the sort of Japanese part of it is racist, but not the, it's like, we were fighting a war against Japan and the, and Germany, yo, and what the Allied nations. So what? I don't. Okay, yes, you can argue that you shouldn't use that, but I damn sure ain't gonna think the dude's racist.
Yeah,
like for that, I was like, that's a stretch.
Yeah,
that's a stretch. Like, it was like, look, I don't like some of the things articles does too, but I'm not going. This ain't it for me. Like, I don't know. It's like, man, it's like. And that's what I hate about people, is that when you don't like somebody, you try to find anything that's wrong with them. And I always hated that. Even people I didn't like, I wouldn't do that, because I would say, no, if it's something, like even if it's something I like just because they like it, I'm not going to dislike it or find something wrong. So, there's something wrong with this because they must like it, and I don't like them. It's like, no, that's not how it works. It's like
yeah.
It's that just because you like just because you don't like a certain person or somebody for whatever they believe in or politics or whatever, is not like a complete, like, you make it like, oh, they're the opposite of me. No, that's not how like everything they like I dislike. That's not how it works. I always hate it, especially the internet. I hate the internet for that, like how they always do that. Because even people I like, I totally hate, and then I see people get on and say, really? That wasn't that bad. I mean, shit, I hate the dudes, but God, come on. Anything else in I'm trying to think of anything else in video games that I saw. The thing. I think that's it, man. I think I'm good.
All right. Well, we will get into new releases here these past 2 weeks. We got Ravenlock, as you mentioned earlier. That's out on the Xbox and the PC. That's on Game Pass as well. Redfall, if you want to give that a try for yourself, that's on Xbox and PC. It's part of Games Pass. Darkest Dungeon 2 has left early access. That is now out on the PC. And
yes, I see that.
Yeah. I don't know why that got copied there. We also have Hogwarts Legacy finally releasing on PS4 and Xbox One. The Switch version is still in the works, allegedly. Marvel's Midnight Suns, as we mentioned, is out on PS4 and Xbox One. And The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is now out on the Nintendo Switch and emulators of your choice, if you decide to explore that option. You can still buy the game, though, of course. So yeah, that is our new releases. You got anything else for the people this week, Dominic?
Don't have anything else for the people. No. think I'm good.
All right. Thank you guys as always for listening. You can check us out on Twitter. Dominic is at DStallworth5. I'm at Regulus MB. The podcast is at Superpod, SUPAPOD. Superpod.com is the website. You can check us out there. It has all of our podcasts, as well as all the links to the places you can find us, including YouTube, where there's a video version of this podcast, as well as iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify. And until next time, guys, we'll talk to you later.
All right, see you.